special for you guys today. We've been doing client interview recently, and I was like contacting Alison. I'm like, we have to chat because I know there are so many of you inside this group that are really going to resonate with what we're going to talk about today. So I want you guys to meet Alison. She's we've been working together for, I want to say, how many years? Years?
Well, yeah, it's been, I joined BYE quite a long time ago, but then I dabbled in it, I guess you would say, for a while, but like yes, there's a lot of dabblers probably who can, you just like, you want to do it, but it's just so many squirrels and going on a bunch of different directions and comparing and, oh, I should be doing this or I should be doing that. So I had an offline business for a while too I didn't need the online part, but.
So I think there's a lot of people that will resonate with this dabbling and squirrels. And so, Alison jumped into BYE and then we stepped it up and she came into VIP and Inner Circle. And, you've been around for so long and it's been incredible to see you really, and I'm calling this like the come out of your shell client interview. It's incredible to see you come out of your shell and build your business and build your brand. And it was like in one, like, I almost want to say it was in one moment where we started saying we have to start showing up different. And we started like really not just showing up, but being intentional about it. Mm-hmm. And the reason why this is going to be so exciting for those of you who are having that chatter in the back of your mind where you're like, who am I to build my tribe or have a voice? I'm not confident, or you've got all of that inner chatter in the back of your mind. And then you're like, well, I have to put myself out there, but I'm not like them. And I want you guys to really pay attention today because Alison is like a prime example of someone who made a decision to go for it, get some real clarity that's authentically her own, and just like make it happen. And from then on, it was like a whole other thing. So I want to thank you so much for taking the time to jump on this chat with me. So I want you guys to meet Alison. I want you guys to like follow her. All the links are there. But let's just start by talking about where you were at maybe like 6 months ago.
About 6 months ago, I had everything, like the funnel and everything connected, but it just wasn't converting the way I wanted to. When I first joined BYE, I sold a lot of my programs, but it was to people that I knew from my like offline world that I just started, working with me online. When I joined, decided to like take the next like level up is when that warm market, of people who knew me locally in real life, like dried up. And I was like, oh, okay, well, for this to work, I need to be able to, put myself out there on a much larger scale. And I just didn't know how to do that or who I was to do that, if that makes any sense. Like and I still do this, but not to the same extent, like compare and see what everybody else is saying. And, oh, I should be saying that. Oh, I should be saying that. Oh, I should be saying that. And I started saying everything. So I was saying nothing at all. And I wasn't being like authentically me. And it just was flat. I feel like my business was flat.
Totally. And to give everyone who's watching some context, so Alison works with moms. And when you're a fitness coach and you work with moms, it's easy to go the typical route and post the kinds of things that every other fitness coach who coaches moms would post. So when we were going through her stuff and going through her content, we had to have an honest conversation one day. And I remember we had it one day and we said, is this content of yours making you feel anything? Like, how do you feel about it? And that's when we did the work to take steps backwards to really dig deep and find her own voice so that she could feel comfortable with it, something that she would really fall in love with. And then we were able to just like spring forward and go for it. So can you talk a little bit about what you what you were doing that you weren't really resonating with?
I think I was trying to talk to everybody and help everybody. And, because like you put out your lead magnet, right? And then people join your free group and then they start asking questions. And I started just catering to the people that were there versus the people that I knew that I would jive with and be able to work with, and like that would lighten me up, in a way that coaching was fun. And it stopped being fun. It started to be so draining that
Right.
yeah.
And I want to touch on that for a sec, because I think that's what a lot of people when they're starting out do. You create this community and you feel like you have to provide content. So you just think you become this content machine, but
Mhm.
you're not positioning yourself as an influencer, as an expert, as someone who has authority. So the purpose of this whole thing is flat, because now you're not creating a space where people want to work with you. You're not creating a space where there's like FOMO going on and they want to work with you. Essentially, you're creating this content machine where you're just kind of going through the motions and constantly coming up with more tips and more hacks and more quotes and more of this, and it's just, and then you start to wonder, like, what is the point? So
Yeah.
we had to really, like I said, stop and figure out how are we going to position you as the expert. And I think the first thing that we did was we figured out who do you want to serve and who do you not want to serve.
Who do you not want to serve was so big. Like, I know you did a video on that. I think it was in this brand's new business a while back, a couple months ago. Like, if anyone, go find that video, because I needed to, because I was afraid of offending people. But with what I was telling them to do or how I was telling to do it, or calling people on their BS, because I didn't want to, I want them to like me. But I was like, well, but why do I care if this person that I don't want to work with likes me? And I just had to like really go through that exercise and be like, who am I okay with pissing off? Essentially, because
when you're okay with pissing people off and you're doing things your way, you're going to attract the people that you want to work with, because they're going to love that about you. When you play it safe because you don't want to piss people off, you're talking to everyone, which means you're talking to no one.
Exactly.
So now that you've done this work and you've kind of revamped and made that decision that these are the people I'm going after, these are the people I'm okay pissing off, I'm not going to play safe anymore, I'm going to go full out. Who are the people you're okay pissing off?
It's one thing to like say it in the back of my head, but to say it out loud, people who want quick fixes and want the easy way out and that don't want to do the work, or that say they want to do the work and like want to complain about it the whole time. I want to piss off everyone who like doesn't actually want to do it, essentially.
Okay. I love it. How does that change how you're showing up with your content? Because your group and your community has changed since you've made this decision. So
yes.
In terms of this being actionable, how did you change your content in your lives or whatever it is you're doing to reflect this new brand, I want to call it? And what would you do different?
I just say what I want to say now.
What does that sound like?
I did some journaling on this. I just took the time and wrote down like, what are the things that I want to say with like my clients or people I'm coaching, and like, and what, why am I afraid to say them? And it's calling people out on the bullshit, calling out and specifically saying why my approach and my systems are better. Like
that just gives me, right? That is the one thing that when it comes to coming out of your shell, that is something I've really noticed about you. Guys, we are personal brands. We are marketers. We are in the business of selling. So a lot of us tend to stay in this content space where we're giving content, hoping that this content that they're getting from a million other people will make them want to work with you. The reality is we have to sell ourselves. So if you believe in your process and if you believe in what you're doing, you have to sell it. So if you're not able to say, my stuff is going to get you results and my stuff works, and I'm going to call the bullshit out on what all these other people are doing, and here is what I want you to do instead. If you can't confidently say that and explain that, then you're not going to be able to sell your stuff. So hearing you say that, where you're open to going to your audience, not you're open to, you are going to your audience and saying why my stuff is better, why my stuff works, why that is confidence. People are attracted to confidence. People are attracted to confidence in their process, right? So how did you, like, what is it that you do to, like, let's say there are definitely people that are going to be watching that are not confident yet, that are scared to hit the live button, that are scared to put their, to show off their stuff. Maybe they feel a little bit icky. I know you've been screenshotting all kinds of your successes and wins and having no problem with it. What would you say to someone who is, feeling a little bit weird about showing up that way because they don't consider themselves to be this confident person, or because they think it feels icky, or it feels salesy, or it feels like, what would you say to someone who's playing small that way?
A couple of things. One is you just have to, it's practice. You just have to do it to start feeling good about doing it, like anything you do. But another thing is something that we said, and you say when you do your webinars, and now I say when I do my webinars, like, it's not like, you're not just doing this to like toot, I'm not doing it to toot my own horn. I'm doing it to like show the people that I want to help that like this is real and that can be real for them. And I feel like that's the only way. I mean, if I want to help them, they need to trust that I know my shit. And if I don't tell them that I do, I can't help them because they don't know that I do. That I just talked in a circle, but
it totally makes sense. And it was as simple as you figuring that out for yourself. It was as simple as you changing your mindset to, I'm not here just to give information and for people to ask me questions and to feel like I'm being drained and drained and drained all day. I'm here as the leader in my community. And when they ask questions, I'm going to lead from a place of, ultimately, this is what you're doing wrong. This is what you need to stop doing. And here is what you need to start doing. Come with me, right? Having that confidence to navigate those conversations has been a huge change. And there's just been a huge increase in your confidence, which is changing how you're doing everything.
Yeah. And you know what? Like, honestly, this is easier because before I was just trying to like content. And I'm running out of ideas and generating more and more content. And now, like, legitimately, I just say the same like 4 or 5 things over and over and over and over and over again in different ways and in different, like, reasons for me saying it today, but it's the same 4 or 5 things. And it makes it so much easier. Like, finding my things that are like the umbrella topics of my business and not trying to talk about anything else really was so liberating.
I love when I hear people use like the terms like the umbrella.
Yeah, umbrella.
Yeah, the umbrella. If no one knows, it is so much more powerful to be known for a small list of topics than to be known for everything. Because if you're trying to talk about everything and you're coming up with all these different things to talk about, you're going to be known for nothing, because you need that consistent, repetitive reminder so that they associate you with certain things, and you want them to do that so that they remember you, so that they come to you when they're having pain points in that area. So yes, that is so good. And feeling like we're talking about the same thing at the beginning, everyone's like, I just talked about that. I just emailed about that. I just posted about that. I'm like, good, do it again, do it again, do it again, because
you hear it over and over and over again.
The same thing. I want to talk about real quick, going live. This was something, and there's so many people that, I just had a conversation in BYE that people are scared of going live. They are scared. I mean, obviously it's scary, but worrying about what they look like, what people think, what am I going to say? And we get so in our heads about this. So this is something that you and we actually went to work fixing it. So you weren't loving how you were showing up going live. And we said, okay, great. We're going to practice like a million times. And we had her submit the introduction and submit the call to action at the end. And we just practiced. And I'm not going to take credit for anything that I told you to do. What I do know made the difference was you doing it. So yeah, talk to someone who is just like, I cannot hit live because when I do, no one's watching. I suck. I hate the way I look. I hate what I'm saying. I'm in my head. What do you say to someone to get out of that like stage with their lives?
So I found it was a lot easier to do it in my private group than on my page, because there was a more smaller knit community of people watching it. But you just have to like do it, and nobody notices the things that you worry about as much as you do. Talking about like just when you're live, and don't overthink it. Live has to come from like the heart, and feel like I'm still getting better and better and better. But and I see it in some of my friends too that came through Inner Circle, that are my friends because of Inner Circle, which is awesome. That them coming when they're actually like care about what they're talking about. Like, talk about something that lights you up. Don't talk about boring how to BS. Like, talk about something that you are legitimately excited about to start with, for sure. And then also, if you're worried about nobody watching, first of all, it doesn't matter that nobody's watching. Most lives are watched as replays anyway. But get your friends, tell some of your friends, like BYE people, or if you join Inner Circle, like let them know, like, hey, I'm live. It makes you feel better. It does. Like when you're live and there's actually people there commenting while you're live, like it is different. And you can, ask for help from other people, even if it's just like your sister and your mom, like just someone who's there commenting so you don't feel like you're talking to yourself. But eventually you just get used to talking to yourself.
Yeah, I have seen you, like, I tell all my Inner Circle clients, like, you guys should go to Alison's page and find, like, go way back and take a look at how she's improved, because it'll show you how quickly you can improve when you practice and when you do. And little things like, Alison usually has her son around. She's on the road, like battling all the elements all the time. And those things make it so much more interesting. Like when someone's in their real life and they've got things going on, it's so much more interesting to me than this situation necessarily. So the more
I had to get up and in a joint live last week and go wipe my son's butt in the middle of the live.
That to me is hilarious. Okay, but they just want to hang out. So the less you can worry about that kind of stuff and get to the place where you are not in your head and you're just having a conversation with people, that is where you're gonna get comfortable. And the only way to do that is to just do it. So, committing to, put it in your schedule and say, I'm gonna go live twice a week, 3 times a week, no matter what. I'm going to promote that I'm going live so that I actually have to do it. And when it's promoted, when it's out there, it's real, you have to do it. So,
scheduling it was huge, and scheduling ahead of time what you're going to talk about is huge, but also not feeling like you have to talk about what you said you're going to talk about, because there's some days where I say what I'm going to talk about, because I schedule my lives like 8 weeks in advance now, but like some days I get there, I'm like, I don't want to talk about that today. Like, you don't have to, but still go talk about something, like from whatever you're thinking about.
It is your show. You do what you want. And as long as you're doing it with confidence, you take ownership, then it becomes believable, right? Because now you're coming from a position of authority and you're providing value in that sense. Let's talk about your business. We've talked a lot about like you coming out of your shell, which is so important, I think, for so many people that feel like that to see. And guys, scroll through her stuff and watch, get a look at the evolution, right? So now even the way that you're sitting here talking, like you're a completely different person to me in terms of what I see on the other side of the screen. Like it's awesome. But let's talk about your business. Let's talk about your business, your strategy. What is so incredible for me when I work with clients at the level that I work with Alison inside the Inner Circle and VIP is to see them talking and managing their business and their calendars and their systems, and like seeing them become like true online marketers. And sometimes I just have to stop and be like, look at what you're doing, right? Because at the beginning, every little thing is like impossible. Launching a page, writing an email, like everything is so complicated. And now, like, she's banging those things out in her sleep, and her mind is in strategy, in marketing game plans, in like in branding, in all the, it's such a graduation.
Yeah.
And being able to like be there the whole time and see this thing evolve. So let's talk about your, like how you've grown with your strategy and where, like what your game plan is these days, and what you would say to anyone who's maybe at those infancy phases where it's like tech is overwhelming, this is overwhelming, and they just want to get out of the gates.
So leading with the calendar is so so useful, and that's one of the things that like I resisted at first a little bit in Inner Circle, because it was like I just wanted, like, what am I working on doing now, all these ideas, like I wanted to talk about the future and like strategize all of that stuff, but I didn't even know what I was like doing now. And so starting with like launches and, you know, backtracking and understanding everything that like the project and process flow and everything that goes into each thing, and then having it calendared out and focusing on like what you're doing now, no matter what. Because in this world of like online business, we're online all the time. So we're seeing like everybody else who has an online business, what they're doing, and we're constantly having ideas. And and some of them are awesome ideas that you may get to someday. And in a lot of the things that have come up for me, like you need to focus on one thing at a time and know that the things that you're thinking about, the future things, have a place in the future.
So inside the Inner Circle, which is my higher end coaching program, the first thing I do with everyone who comes in is we set up a calendar. So it's a unique calendar to what your business is like and where you want to go. But I get everybody on board, whether they want to or not, into this calendar, because the best thing we can do when it comes to building a business is figuring out how we're going to spend our time efficiently and setting up that project plan. We can't just go in hot and say, let's get to work. We want to make sure that we have a goal in mind, we define the goal, and then we break it down into what are we doing every single week, what are we doing every single day. And then once we have that down, it becomes what are we doing every single hour, so that we are efficient with our time doing all the things that we have to do. So everyone comes in and they're like, I don't know about this calendar, but everybody 100% will get on board.
I love the calendar now. It's like my Bible. Everything is in the calendar.
Right. So it's exactly like you said, when we take a moment to figure out what the game plan is, we can show up to work that day and we know what we're working on because we have deadlines. So that we know, okay, maybe I know I need to launch another lead magnet or get my Facebook ads done, but you're not thinking about it today because you can see that that's happening 2 weeks from now, from that Monday to Thursday. I'm going to worry about that later. Because we're crazy as entrepreneurs, because we worry about everything where it needs to have its home.
Yeah.
So that we know it's accounted for, and we know that if we meet our deadlines, we're going to get to the goal. And I think that's huge.
And when you get to that point where like you have the project plan in the calendar, what's cool is it starts to feel like this is a real business now. Like, yeah.
Okay, back to your strategy, back to your real business. Your webinars and your launches, what does that all look like?
So, I have all of my launches calendared out for the year, not for the year, through the summer at this point. And then I have webinars. I'm doing a webinar once a month to cold traffic as lead generation, plus my lead magnet. And what's cool is like, so this would be my 4th webinar now. And it's almost to the point where it's on autopilot. Like, it's so like, I have a webinar next Tuesday and I didn't start doing anything for it until Monday of this week.
Right. So
and ads went up yesterday, and it's all autopilot. And that's the cool thing about eventually you focus on one thing at a time, and then that's a piece. And then that piece is repeat, and then you can add in another one and like another one. And
you are a true online marketer, and it's so cool to see. Would you have considered yourself a techie person a year ago?
I'm techie, right. Because I come from like a computer programming engineering background, but not marketing.
This is a whole other ball game. So to someone who is like listening and they're like, that sounds like so much, right? How did you like, what advice would you give to someone who was where you're at? Maybe when you were just coming out of BYU thinking, this isn't automated yet. There are so many moving pieces. I don't love my branding. I don't love my voice. I'm not showing up. Never done a webinar before, where everything sounds like so much. You just have to tackle it, one step at a time. What advice would you give for someone who needs to get there, but there's this like space between?
Work with you. No, seriously, like ask for help. I think as entrepreneurs, we feel like we're supposed to do it alone. But you cannot do this alone. Like you need help, whether it's to, work with SJ on with a higher level of BYE or inner circle or whatever. Like you need help, you need accountability, you need someone to call you on your bullshit when you're like going in a million directions. Like you can't do it alone. You just can't.
So thank you for that. So speaking of, what has been from a client perspective and from an honest perspective, what has the inner circle been like for you?
Oh my God, life changing. Literally life. And don't make me cry. No, but in so many ways. Because this journey can be isolating because most of the people in real life don't get what you're doing in this life. And so, inner circle gave me the systems, it gave me feedback, it gave me the accountability, it gave me the push to like do the things that were uncomfortable and practice them so that I could be confident. But it also gave me like a tribe of people that get me and like friends in this world. My mom thinks that I'm crazy, but like, I hang out with friends online, and sounds like silly, but it's, you find your people too, which is really one of the best things, because even that, like through that actually is probably where my confidence came from the most. Because I've always struggled with feeling like a lot of people that I know I just call it real life. I don't really know what to call it.
Offline world.
Offline life. Like don't get me. I've always like been a little bit different in my life choices. Like y'all, I live in an RV and I travel full time. Like a lot of my dad's like, you live in a trailer. So I mean, it's just, but you find your people and that lights you up and gives you the fire to just keep going more.
It helps you push through things that you would maybe be stuck on, not maybe that you'd be stuck on for a while, because you have others that are dealing with the same thing, and like we evolve together, and it's just exactly. It's incredible. You've been such a cheerleader in the group, and watching you go from, I see people come in at the beginning and they're nervous and they're still in their shell, and then you see them like things start to click, and then you have breakthroughs, and then they become like the mother bears of the group. So it's just been so incredible to watch you transform, to watch you come out of your shell, to see you serving your audience the way you are, and to have figured out where your space is and where you fit in this whole online world, and who you're meant to serve and who you're not meant to serve, and knowing that you have a voice for them, knowing that you get them results, and having that confidence to say that and to know that you're an online marketer. Like it's just been so awesome to see you do all this thing, to be the brand, to have the business, and like you're a mom, you're on the road, you got married through this whole thing. So I just want to congratulate you on all of it, and it's been awesome to be a part of it. So I want to thank you so much. Before I let you go, where can people find you?
You can find me at Living Room Workout Club on pretty much everything. So it's livingroomworkoutclub.com. That's my Facebook and my Instagram handle. My group, only for the ladies though, is the Strong. You don't have to be a mom to hang out in there with us, although most people are, but it's called the Strong Mom Tribe. And that's where, if you want to really scroll down and see some of my evolution,
head on over to Strong Mom Tribe. It's in the description of this live. And seriously, scroll back through the group. You are going to see a real-time evolution of you know, what she's done and like her lives from, I would say even like 3 months ago compared to them today. See how different she is, how she's connecting with the audience, confidence, like more calm in them, more conversational, more effective. And that's proof that you don't have to be confident on camera, or you don't have to be naturally, you know, whatever. You can learn by practice and by committing and by figuring out what your voice is and what your space is, and all the stuff we talked about today. So I want to thank you so much, and people